Hey guys, what's up? So I decided I was going to touch on a topic specifically that I haven't really touched on. I've kind of organically touched on it a little bit just by documenting my transition for the past 4 years, but I wanted to emphasize this topic, and that topic is how different it is navigating the world being perceived male versus being perceived female now. I feel like there's probably a lot of curiosity by both genders to be like, I wonder what it would be like to be a guy for a day, or I wonder what it'd be like to be a girl for a day. And the benefit of my life is that I know the answers to these questions. It's funny, like, acknowledging that I was born female. I feel like a lot of the TERFs or the evangelical Christians like would be like, oh, that's proof, see, you were born female. And no shit, Sherlock, I'm not completely delusional. I know that I have XX chromosomes. I know that I was born female. This is part of my life experience. And that's all. I'm acknowledging it as that. I cannot change it. This is my life. So let's have a little fun in acknowledging that I have had a way different experience than a majority of the population. Born female. So I've been socialized as female in a lot of aspects of my life. When I was in school, girls' PE, girls' sports, things like that. But I also did have a brother, so I wasn't completely ignorant to what it was like, being socialized as a boy. I also did look like a boy for a good amount of time of my life when I played sports when I looked like a boy and was perceived like a boy for a good amount of time as well. So I did kind of get a little bit of boyhood, but growing up, puberty, you can't really be androgynous anymore, and you're forced into playing with girls and with girls' sports and things like that. So that's where all the more intense socializing of female socialization began. I'm just gonna start with, I worked in a kitchen, and at first all of the people that I interacted with knew I was transitioning or knew me before transition, so I didn't really notice a lot of change in how I was being perceived, except for when it came to customers. First thing I noticed was that when I was doing customer service, women seemed to smile at me more, and that was kind of the very first thing that I noticed. I don't know why that is, but I was like, that's interesting. They seem to be a little bit nicer and seem to smile. Okay, cool. As time went on, probably a good 2 years, there wasn't really many people left that knew me pre-transition, so I very much just kind of blended in, was a bit of a chameleon, and I noticed that kitchen talk is very explicit, I guess you could say. They have dirty mouths. This is where I get mine from, and I didn't really realize how much they still filtered that. Being perceived as female, they kind of still have this guard up that they don't let down until you walk out of the kitchen. So I got to see what that was like. I felt a little bit like a spy at times. It was very strange. But the sexual talk definitely goes way up. It definitely gets more just things that I could not repeat on my channel. More explicit. It tends to go into more talk of who they wanna screw, fuck, those things, and why, and more specific things about the body, that sort of thing. So that's kind of how you know when you're passing, because they say a lot of fucked up shit. So yeah, men do filter themselves around women, whether you think about it or not. It's true, it happens. Another thing I noticed was I was treated a bit differently by my boss or my chef, and I will be honest in saying that 99.9% of the time, chefs are complete assholes. Let's be real. They yell, they get angry, their fuses are really, really short, and the job is stressful. It's understandable to a certain extent, but it's still not something that I enjoy. No one wants to be yelled at. But the chef that I was under, definitely I could tell the difference between how he treated women and how he treated men. He was a lot easier on the women. I feel like the expectations were higher with the men. His fuse was shorter with men. So I would get the brunt of some of his anger or some frustrations. Like I'd still like would try to avoid that happening. I'm a perfectionist. I do not like being yelled at. I do not like making mistakes, so I basically would just make myself sick instead and would try my hardest to not make mistakes, which I'm human, so sometimes it happens, you know? But the way that he would be with women versus men, he wouldn't have as short as a fuse with the women, so it's a little weird to think that he had higher expectations for the men sometimes, or maybe, maybe the men just fucked up more. I don't know. But that was something I definitely noticed in the workforce, things like that. Moving on from that, I no longer work in a kitchen, so the majority of my life is either in the grocery store or the gym. So at the grocery store, I've noticed it depends. Like, I still try to keep to myself. I've had a few women ask me to reach things for them, which I find hilarious because I'm only 5'3". So apparently they don't notice how short I am still, even though I'm a dude. So I'm like, yeah, sure, lady, I will climb this shelf for you and get whatever thing you need on the top shelf. Yeah, I always end up getting it. It's only been a couple times, but I was like, I felt really good about it. It's like, yeah, I got that for you, no problem. Like, I am the man. But generally, it's more of the conversations you have with cashiers when you're checking out. It's where I learned how many different nicknames men can give each other. It's just like, bro is probably the most popular. I do live in California, so that could be why. There's boss, there's chief, there's bud. I think it depends what age they perceive you to be at, or just whatever language, or the age of the cashier as well. Usually, bro is used by younger men. Bud is used by older men that perceive you to be younger. Boss, they kind of, I don't really know. I don't get that one as much, but I don't mind. Chief, I think I've only gotten one time, and I forget what it was for or who said it, but I remember it because I was like, that's a new one. That's definitely a new one. So yeah, grocery store, that's what I noticed there. Nothing too out of the ordinary, nothing crazy. You don't get people like opening doors for you, which, like that's fine. I tend to open doors for women now because it is kind of more expected, but you also have to be careful because I have opened a door for a woman before and she was not happy about that. She was actually quite angry. She was like, I got it. She gave me a look and was like, I got it. I was like, I understand you do not need the door to be open for you. I'm just trying to be kind and chivalrous, but I know that's dying. So when it comes to the gym, I probably noticed the biggest difference here. I get asked to be a spot a lot more often. And at first this was pretty cool because it was very validating, one, to be perceived as strong. and, and as a dude. So I was just kind of like, wow, this guy asking me for a spot right now probably has no idea how much this actually means to me. But now it's gotten to a point where it can almost be annoying. Where the gym I'm at currently, I have not been asked to spot someone, but there was some guy at my last gym would always ask me to spot. I would purposely try to avoid him or wherever he was working out. It's just awkward. I'm a socially awkward person. I do not like touching people, talking to people, and I don't like small talk with people. So when I'm at the gym, I wear headphones. I don't talk to anybody. I'm in my own world. I'm in my own zone. So this guy kind of like just busted my bubble, my social bubble. And spotting someone, you have to stand above them as they're laying down. And so they're laying down, they're pressing, you are over top of them. So basically it's just like your crotch is directly in their face. It's the gayest thing that you can ever do in a gym, and maybe that's why he asked me be a spot, so I don't know. But it's very awkward. I don't like doing it. Plus, this person is trusting you not to let them break their head with this weight that they're lifting. So it's, their life is in your hands, and they're also staring at your balls. So besides the spot, if you go towards the locker room, men have no shame, especially old men. they will walk around the locker room ass naked, dick out for days. They have no sense of needing to cover up. They have no shame. It's just a free for all. They're like little kids who don't like wearing clothes and like try to rip their diapers off at all times. Like, that is old men. They do not want to be wearing clothes, and I think they just stay in the locker room naked because they can. And speaking of no shame, the differences in bathroom etiquette is something that I probably noticed the most. With women, first of all, yes, there is more conversation that happens within the bathroom. They are more talkative. There's eye contact. It depends on the women, but generally, you can start a conversation with another woman in the restroom and it's not weird. Women also like to pretend that they don't poop. They will hold it until there's absolutely no one else in the bathroom, or they will try to poop as quietly as possible. It's almost like it's this unspoken thing that women are not supposed to be heard pooping. There shall be no plops or farts or anything. It's just not what women do. And I feel like, considering there is no men in the bathroom, women have created this rule for themselves. This is not toxic masculinity. This is not misogyny at play. This is women amongst women who apparently are too nervous to poop around each other. When it comes to the men's bathroom, there is absolutely no holding back. I have heard groans, moans, and grunts, and farts, and explosive diarrhea. They don't give a shit. When they're in the stall, they're there to poop, and they just do it. They don't hold back. They don't think about how loud they're being. It's kind of refreshing. And, I mean, not smell-wise, it's nasty, but men do not talk to each other. There's no eye contact. There's no conversation. It's just getting in, getting out, doing your business, and that is it. So that's kind of like the majority of the differences I've noticed. I think being a socially anxious person, one thing that I do enjoy is that I did not like to poop in public at all, because it was this thing that I felt like is this unspoken thing you're not supposed to do in public. But, being amongst men, it's no big deal. So now I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take a shit in public. I don't care anymore. So, why do females not want to poop around each other? How did we create these rules to where it was like, we still have to pretend we don't poop, even if it's just women? So, yeah, those are like some of the differences that I've noticed. And that's all so far. I'm sure with time I'll probably notice more things, and I'll talk to you about them. Yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you have stories of the differences between, being perceived as male or female or anything like that, leave them down below. I would love to read them. And that is it. Peace out. I will see you next time.